Drinking buddies, today we are here to answer a really important question. Which Jim Beam barrel proof is the best?
I'm your drinking buddy.
All right, drinking buddies. So today we're going to be testing out the 4 Jim Beam barrel proof options that you can get. Now we have the Knob Creek single barrel proof rye. We have a Booker's from 2020. This is the Boston batch. We have the Knob Creek single barrel proof bourbon, and we have Maker's Mark cask strength. Now these are all made by Jim Beam. You can tell by the stupid wax around the top of the bottle. I don't know why, I don't like the wax. I guess it looks a little bit cooler on the Maker's Mark bottle than it does on these. That's just kind of more likely to end up in your glass than not. Not a big fan of wax. But I do like 3 of the 4 of these. I'm not a big fan of that Maker's, so I should be able to pick that one out right away. But the way we're gonna do this is I'm going to test all 4, and then I'm gonna add a couple drops of water to each to see if a little dilution of water helps open up the flavors at all. I'll go through them one more time and we'll say which one is the best. I'll tell you which one all 4 is. And yeah, so let's get started with number 1. Number 1. Oh yeah, there's a lot of heat in there, but boy is it tasty. I can see a little fleck of wax in there, and that might be a tell, or that might be a tell if it was a different lineup of bourbons. But seeing as how they're all Jim Beam products here, they all have wax things at the top. I'm not a big fan of the wax. I do not like the wax at the top. All right, so well, let's see here. Let's unpack this. There's a lot of warming spices coming through here. There is a little bit of butterscotch coming through on the end, which leads me to believe that this is the rye. It's sweet. There's a little bit of dryness coming through on the end. Barrel aging tends to give a little bit of a dryness, especially on the finish. This is really quality, really good stuff. Number 2. Ooh, the smell is nice. Cherries. Got a really cherry smell. Yeah, the taste, not so much. It's got like an artificial cherry thing going on, a cherry lipstick type thing. Number 2 is the Maker's for sure. I can tell by the flavor that I'm not like an enormous fan of it, and I know I'm not an enormous fan of the Maker's cask strength. A little bit else going on here. There's a little bit of peanut, cinnamon. It tastes hotter than the last one. Ironically, it's going to be the lowest proof. Number 3. Yeah, that is really nice. Boy, a glass of Booker's when you have one. It's got a really great characteristic of a spiciness smell to it, like a fall spices. But it drinks so syrupy. It's got a syrupy viscosity. It's sweet, smooth, a little bit of peanut. A little bit of like burnt sugar. No corn. No corn comes off of Booker's for me. Just a wonderful barrel proof. All right. And last up, and by process of elimination, this should be the Knob Creek single barrel proof bourbon. All right, let's see. Citrusy. Lemons. Oh yeah, creme brulee, a little salty, like a little briny. Oh, just Thanksgiving dinner, winter spice, pumpkin, something going on here that I love. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's really good. All right, drinking buddies, we added a little bit of dilution to each one. Now we're gonna go back through, see if they can pick up any additional flavor notes, see how they turned out by adding the dilution to it, and see if I still like them as much as I did before, minus number 2, and see if we can't decide which is the best Jim Beam barrel proof. So number 1, which I believe to be this Knob Creek single barrel proof rye. Oh yeah, it opened it up a little bit more. I'm picking up a lot more peanuts off of this. Tastes a little bit sweeter. Still very solid. Number 2, which I believe to be this Maker's Mark cask strength. Yeah, it really smells like cherries. I do like it a little bit more with a couple drops of water in it. I do feel like there's a little bit more going on here, but overall it's definitely the weakest link of this bunch. As you guys know, the Maker's Mark is a wheated bourbon. The other 3, these 2 are bourbons, meaning they're at least 51% corn. The wheated bourbon is 51% corn, but instead of adding rye to it, they add wheat to it, and the rye over here is at least 51% rye. We don't know what the rest of the makeup of the mash bill is, but we know it's at least 51% rye. Number 2, again. Yeah, it's just not got a great flavor. It's got like a stale candy thing going on. Let's go to number 3. Yeah, that's my Boston batch. That's the Booker's. I know it is. It's really got a syrupy texture to it that just so reminds me of, there's a maple thing going on here. There's a little light tobacco note coming on the end. It's gonna be hard to beat the Booker's, but it does cost almost double what this one does, and about $30 more than this one, and double what this costs. So keep in mind that when/if Booker's wins, because I think it's Booker's, I could be wrong, when/if Booker's wins, it is the most expensive, so it should win. Lastly, the one that I believe to be the Knob Creek single barrel proof bourbon. Yeah. Oh yeah. I really, this is gonna sound like blasphemy, but I actually really like to mix this one with Dr. Pepper. I don't like to mix a lot of bourbons, especially not with soda, but that Knob Creek single barrel proof bourbon really works well in with Dr. Pepper. Generally, I drink my whiskey neat. I'm not much of a mixer, but if I am gonna mix with Dr. Pepper, I'm gonna grab that. Especially since it's gonna stand up to being mixed, since it's 120 proof. You're still gonna be able to taste it, and it's not gonna get too watered down and ruined. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, sweet, caramely. The peanut notes I tasted initially have been muted by the water. Yeah, warming spices, cinnamon. Just all around a really good bourbon. Knob Creek Rye, Maker's Mark cask strength. Booker's Knob Creek Bourbon, single barrel proof. That's my guesses, and I believe my favorite is the Booker's, followed very closely by these 2, a tie for number 2. And then the weak one was the Maker's Mark cask strength. you know, I had that bias going in, but it was poured blind. So I can't say that my bias is, you know, getting in the way of the great flavor of this Makers when I poured it blind. So there's a reason I don't think it's that great, because it's not that great. But yeah, let's find out if I was right. And our Booker's has been crowned king. So number 1 was the Knob Creek Rye, number 2 was the Makers, number 3 was the Booker's, and number 4 was the Knob Creek Bourbon. So I got my guesses right, and that's good. And our winner was our Booker's. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate all of you guys hitting that like button and subscribing, and we'll see you on the next one.